Hello and welcome to Talking Shit About with me, Elizabeth, and my dogs who are being really quiet, so fingers crossed it keeps up. This is my show where each month I bring on someone to talk about something they hate or sometimes something they love, and we dissect it, and hopefully by the end we've all learned something. And if you've learned anything from the show, it's that I don't like long intros, so let's go ahead and talk some shit. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Shit About. I'm here today with Jason from From The Crypt. We're going to talk some shit about horror movies. Jason, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit about your podcast, what you do, and your relationship to horror movies?
Yeah, so I host a podcast called Dads from the Crypt. I've been reviewing every Tales from the Crypt episode from the HBO television show. We compare it to the comics. And we've been interviewing producers, actors, directors, pretty much anyone that'll talk to us that was associated with the show and the movies, Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood. And we also give questionable parenting advice. We're three spooky dads who all like horror, who grew up watching Tales from the Crypt. And so we've had some amazing guests to help us review the shows. And we're actually almost done with the series. So we've been doing a lot of horror anthology movies, such as Tales from the Hood. We just did Trick or Treats, Creep Show. But the show will definitely live on, and there are plenty more horror anthology series for us to tackle. So, yeah, we're probably done by the either end of November, early December area with the Tales from the Crypt proper. But at our heart, I think Tales from the Crypt will always be there.
Let's go. So, how long has the show been going on?
A little over 2 years,
Yeah.
thereabouts. Like yeah, somewhere like around July of 2020. Yeah.
So, you said you grew up watching Tales from the Crypt?
Yeah, I remember I discovered this little show called Saturday Night Live when I was like in middle school or whatever. You grow up, these things are just taken for granted. And I was a big Star Trek kid, and Patrick Stewart was going to be the host. So I was like, oh man, he's going to be on some comedy show I didn't really know much about, but I was on really late, and I was in middle school, so staying up to like 11:30 or whatever was a big deal. So I remember I like was channel surfing to try to stay awake, and then this is when they started syndicating Tales from the Crypt episodes on Fox, slightly edited everything. I was like, wait, what is this? And I was immediately enthralled by it, and it's a lot for a 12 or 13-year-old kid to take in. There's a lot of sexual energy in that show and a lot of violence and gore and stuff, the kind of stuff you don't normally see on TV, even though it's HBO, but they edit it for regular TV. So that was kind of like my gateway into that
Yeah.
larger world.
Yeah. So, are you pretty big into horror in general?
Yeah, I grew up like when I was a kid watching like the Universal movies and the Godzilla movies, the King Kong movies. But like again, I was growing up I was a kid during the 80s, so like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers were like those images were everywhere, but I was way too scared to watch any of them at the time. And then when Scream came along and blew up, I saw that. I saw like three times in the theater, and that became like my Rosetta Stone of horror movies. So I stood out to like watch everything that was referenced in Scream. And that kind of drew me into the larger world. And then, as horror has evolved since then, to the great place it's in now. Yeah, definitely a big horror fan.
Nice. What are your favorite aspects of the genre?
I like that it can go places other genres won't. It can cover taboos or subjects that like you won't see in a romantic comedy or maybe in a drama, but that seems a little boring. I like the allegorical aspects when it can tell a story about something, but without being directly about something in a way. I can be a little more creative with that. Sometimes it's just plain fun, we love seeing, we imagine the ways Freddy Krueger can, stalk and kill people. Is always entertaining. So yeah, on one hand, I find it very intellectually interesting when it's trying to be, and other times it can be really fun.
Yeah.
So,
Something that I
and
always like
but
I enjoyed about it, especially when I was younger, was like I mean, not that there isn't like sexism in those movies and stuff, but
mm,
the idea that there was like almost always like a woman who escaped and a woman who was like smarter than the bad guy. I don't know. That was always
mhm,
something that stood out to me in the genre
right.
of yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. It can be very empowering, and it can help a lot of people face their fears, in a safe manner. And then we also have, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, where it's a man in the scream queen role, kind of doing a little bit of a gender flip. So yeah, it's interesting how it can set up norms, but then subvert norms in the same way, and kind of give the outcast and the other, a little power too.
Yeah, have you seen oh my gosh, Cabin in the Woods?
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of like after that, it's like what's left. That's like the be all end all of horror movies in a way.
Yeah. I guess for someone who hasn't seen it, why do you say that?
Because it kind of deconstructs so many tropes and kind of points them out, and just kind of it's kind of the literally it literally figuratively is all encompassing,
Mm,
um without giving too many things away. But
yeah.
yeah, it's also just very, very funny.
Yeah.
Which again, horror and comedy are, I think, are very much linked to each other.
So, what are some things about horror movies that you don't like, whether it's like a particular like subgenre or tropes?
I when people say like, "What's your favorite genre?" Like I don't know. I like there's the best of all genres. If you name a genre, like, I'm sure I could find something that I really like within that genre. So I wouldn't say there's any genres I dislike. There's some I probably would go to before others, but with the mood strikes me. I think what I don't like is I'll say needless, lazy, or exploitive sexual, especially violence. Um, there's sometimes some things that just don't need to go, or just you feel like the director is just like being going over the top with it, like to fulfill some of his own like issues or whatever's going on behind the scenes. Um, I'm not being a prude about anything. I definitely think sexual violence has a place, but there's a way to handle it that feels more responsible than others. Like look what I can do to my actress. It, that like look how I can terrorize my cast and crew by making them do this from the director's perspective. That's a real big annoyance for me. So if you look like a movie like Barbarian, that was very much about sexual assault, but doesn't actually show any sexual assault. It like gives you everything you need through a story. They do the legwork and they set up everything, but without having have to show or put the actresses through a needless scene. That's I think that is a real sign of artistry, and someone who's really thinking it through. And again, I'm not a prude. It's fine to have a sex scene in your movie. I mean, I just watched Suitable Flesh, which has many, many sex scenes, but they all kind of serve a purpose for the story. And again, don't aren't feeling like how many times can I get my actress naked kind of thing behind the scenes. And the other thing is just boring. I don't mind if a movie's bad, just don't be boring. That's my biggest sin.
Are there any boring ones that you can think of?
No, because I forgot about them. That's the point. Yeah, like I can't. It's hard for me to even think about it because I just
Yeah.
forget it pretty much once it's over. I'm like, oh, that was lame. I mean, I wouldn't call it. I guess I wouldn't call it boring, but just formulaic, like overly formulaic, is like the latest Exorcist movie. It was just like really paint by numbers.
Mm.
Um, for I think they had that. There's all. If you're going into that movie or that genre, you got to go for something, and they didn't really go for anything. So
Yeah, I feel like I don't remember the last time I watched a new horror movie. Is there anything that's come out in the past I guess since the pandemic that you're like you think people should really see?
I mean, even just in the last couple months, like I said, there's a new movie called Suitable Flesh, which is it's Joe Lynch, Lovecraftian horror movie. There's a movie called The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, which is kind of a like take on Frankenstein, but where Frankenstein is a little girl living in a project, and she's trying to revive her brother who was killed in gun violence.
Wow.
And she like kind of succeeds, but to monstrous effect. Another really good movie last couple months was Birth Rebirth, which is again a very intense movie that goes in some very intense places, but is very, very good. Yeah, there's always new good horror. Oh, Satanic Hispanics is a great horror anthology made by Hispanic filmmakers that I really enjoyed. That was very, very funny, very gross in some parts. Even the one I don't like very much, the segment I don't like very much, is very beautiful. And I had to have someone explain it to me because it was dealing with some mythology that I wasn't really privy to, and some his Mexican social economic issues that again I wasn't privy to. But even if I didn't understand what's happening, it looked really cool. So just that's just a handful of ones I've seen recently that I really liked, and I even like the new VHS 985, which we just did the review on. I love that series. It's just there's always some are better than others, but there's always at least one or two good segments.
Have you seen the menu?
Oh, yes, I love the
Yes.
menu.
Is it
It's
good? Okay.
funny because I was at a community event the other night and they were making s'mores. And like I can't look at I've never been a big s'more fan to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
but like I can't look at a s'more and not laugh anymore.
Oh, good. I'm excited. Yeah, I just saw it on either Netflix or Amazon or something. And was like,
Mhm.
I should probably check that out. But
And you watched it?
no, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
No,
really
don't
ruin
be
anything,
sorry.
but you'll know it when you see it. What I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably one of my favorite movies the last couple of years because it works on many different levels and the acting's so good and like you can tell the effort they put into it. And
Yeah.
you think it's about one thing, but it turns out it's really about much more. Like you could easily have been like more of a lazy movie and gone like, oh, we're gonna do XYZ that you'd expect, or maybe they're hinting that in the previews, but it goes in a totally other place.
Yeah. I'm trying to think the last like horror movie that I saw. And, like the only thing that can come to mind is It Follows, which
Oh
was
yeah,
a few years ago, but
yeah, that was a
I
little
really
while
like
ago.
that one. Yeah.
It's good. The ending falls apart a little bit for me, but I like the execution of the overall.
I remember being scared. And like
Yeah,
that's what
no,
I want. Is like I want to feel scared.
yeah. I watched. Oh man, I watched the movie. For some reason I just never happened to watch it. It was called Hell House LCC, and that came out in like the 2000s. And I love first person POV horror when it's done well. Like again, when they put effort into it, it's not just like, oh, I got a camera, I'm gonna walk around and have things jump out or whatever. But I was what we call butt clenchy. Like you just you just feel yourself tightening. Your whole body's like tightening up from your butt to your head. You know you're in for a good one. Then they have to walk my dog afterwards late at night.
Yeah.
And they don't usually, but this time I turned on the flashlight on my phone because it's a very like yeah, it's a very, very spooky movie. That was just it was late at night, I had a couple beers, you kind of you get into that place like, oh crap.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some times after playing like the Slender Man game where I'd be like, okay, cool, I can't go to outside at night by myself, even with the flashlight, because what if it goes out?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, how much
um,
battery do I have left on my phone?
yeah. Kind of brings me to my next thing. Like I said, like I go out of my way to find that like I want to be scared feeling. But there are some people that don't like
Mhm.
that. I guess
I'll,
why
I'll
why do you think some people don't like horror movies?
well, I mean, okay, I'll put the fine point on my wife does not like horror movies whatsoever. I think there's enough in life that scares her that I don't think she like wants to add any more to it. That's just not how she wants to process it. Where I recognize a lot of scary things in life, and this is kind of how I process it. So I think people are attracted to things. Now she'll watch a really corny, funny, or ridiculous movie, or like she like like Jaws, Monsters Attacks kind of movies. But for some reason, their other favorite horror movie is Sleepaway Camp because I'm a huge fan of that movie. Have you seen Sleepaway Camp?
Uh-uh.
Okay, put that on your list and mark it really high. It's 80. It's just ridiculous 80s camp. It's a summer camp movie, but it's also just extreme camp. It's one of those movies where I think half the people are in on how ridiculous it's supposed to be, but there are other people who aren't. So I love the how it's incongruous, incongruent, whatever the word is. Like it's Sunday
Yeah.
morning, I'm still waking up. How like some people are trying really hard, and other people are like, this is supposed to be campy, so they're being campy. So like when you have those kind of, and I'm talking about not just the actors, like the set decorators or anything, they're all trying really hard. The music's trying like overly hard to sell it. It's just all kind of like it's like a beautiful train wreck
Nice.
in the best way possible.
Yeah. I like love campy 80s horror stuff.
Oh, yeah. Then yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
watch that one.
Yeah. I think that's kind of why I like Krampus, because it was just like
hmm
the right amount of campy
Oh
and
yeah,
like ridiculous.
yeah, no, totally. But the effects are really, really good, and it's kind of those are kind of
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah,
And
especially
also
the Krampus
being,
mask. Yeah.
and also just being trapped in a house with all your entire family is also kind of a nightmare in and of itself.
So would you qualify Sleep Waking Up as like a so bad it's good movie?
Oh yeah,
Or
no, it's
yeah.
it's definitely been on the oh, what's that movie? How did this get made? They did a big episode on it. So again, don't it's got some really crazy parts. So don't I would suggest watching it cold. Like don't go
Uh-huh.
in knowing anything. Don't Google it. Don't look at anything. Just go watch it. Trust me,
Nice.
you'll thank me. Because there's some really ridiculous stuff that once it gets ruined for you, you miss out on that experience. Because I saw it. I again not to say back in the day, but make not as if everything was better back then, but like there was a time where like the internet wasn't what it is today. You don't have the access you have today, so you didn't really know much about a lot of movies. So you would just go based on the cover art, and the cover art could be have nothing to do with anything or really oversell the movie. So you picked a lot of movies based on how cool you thought the cover art was, but without knowing anything. Like, oh, okay, cool cover art, summer camp slasher, but you, that's all you know, and sometimes that's the best way to go into movies. And I say that as someone who loves watching trailers. It's weird because yeah, I really like a good trailer. But I know a lot of people completely avoid. Like I know people who like will bring a hat to go see a movie and they'll just push their hat down so they don't have to see the trailers. Which I understand the mentality of that, but I don't know. I love a good trailer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
don't
can
I
see
don't I
for
don't know
like
how to reconcile that, but it's just the way it is.
yeah. I guess if it's like a horror movie and you don't want to like know the scary parts or whatever, like I could see that. But yeah. What are some of the like horror movies that are considered kind of like the top tier canon that you think are like overrated?
Yeah, this is this is where some people might lose me. But I don't think, especially the first Friday the 13th movie, I don't think it's very good.
Yeah,
Like,
why is that?
I mean, it has like a good opening, but then like the minutia of the movie, it just gets really bogged down. Like, there's like a scene where a character just like makes coffee and they show like every step of it. I'm like, okay, you can speed this up a little bit. They're not building tension; they're just showing her making a coffee. I mean, I'm not anything. The effects at the time, especially, were very revolutionary, and like you can't. The people like you can't show that, can you? As far as the gore and stuff goes, so it's a landmark movie on a technical level, but it's just I don't know. I never find it that interesting.
Yeah.
The only one that I find out with a lot of movies, they're just like it's almost vignettes. There's parts of those movies in that series that don't have anything to do with anything, and they're just there to set up a kill sequence. Like the characters don't interact with any other characters; they just happen to be there, and Jason just comes up upon them. Again, the gore and stuff are fun, but if the characters don't have any meaning or connection to the story, then it doesn't have any substance to me. Um, I guess that so I know and I love the visage of Jason. Again, being a Jason. Um, I like the hockey mask and everything. It's all cool. It's cool to look at, but again, I just don't find anything on a emotional level that to really grasp onto those. I like the sixth one because it's basically a comedy or a parody of itself of the whole series at that point. Um, but yeah, like and that's the thing that like most of the characters don't even realize that they're like something's happening until they're pretty much dead. Whereas opposed to like in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, You usually see a funeral or two, so it's having the deaths have an impact on the characters. So, but you never see that in the Friday 13th movie because it's just happening too fast. It's all like over one night or whatever. And even like the Halloween movies, you have Dr. Loomis is kind of the through line for a lot of them. He's kind of warning people, or people know they might not believe him, or be worried, but at least like there's some connection there. And again, I guess going back to boring, I find Return of the Living Dead, which I know is like a fan favorite, I find it to be rather boring. Like I like the characters are cool, the effects are great, but there's just a lot of parts in that movie that like really just kind of spinning its wheels. And again, maybe that's a sacrilegious thing to say, but I find it again. I'm here to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of
Um,
that comes down to editing too. I think editing is like one of the most unsung aspects of movies. I'm talking movies in general. I think good editing that like paces a movie and everything is super important.
yeah. Have you seen Frogs?
I've seen videos about it, but I haven't sat down and
Oh
watched.
man.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I've seen how crazy it is. It's not just about
it's
frogs either. It's like isn't like about all kinds of animals.
yeah, but it's such a long slug of a movie. Like you just have to watch so much bullshit to get like I think the first
Mhm.
time I watched it all the way through, and then after that, I would just kind of like fast forward through huge chunks of the movie to get to the parts with the animals and stuff because it's just like
Yeah.
so much just bullshit to get through, and it's like yeah,
Mhm.
it's fun. It's fun, but
Yeah. Like you need
only
this.
for
Like
those
you
certain
need like an
parts.
yeah. You need like an editor to go or a better editor to go in and like okay, let's spruce this up a bit. Is that the one
Yeah.
with like a young Sam Elliott?
Maybe? I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I
I
feel
want to
like there's
say so.
someone like a Sam Elliott that's like in that prominently, but like pre mustache or anything. I
Yeah.
could be wrong or it could be someone else.
No, it was Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
You're right.
I kind of love that when you see an actor before they like become known or they're still like working out their career.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
So, what is your horror movie canon? Like, what are your big ones?
I'm a huge fan of the original Psycho. I think that's just like a perfect movie. I'm a big Exorcist fan. I think that movie just works on many levels and just always finds a way to be disturbing. On a very visceral level. So those are like, and then I like most of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but I think the first one again is just a very genius movie in a lot of like ways that's working higher than just a horror movie about reality and and parenting and truth, and a lot of people can see it about being like an allegory for like the Vietnam era, or just how news is disseminated from older generations to younger generations. All the adults in the movie are trying to tell the kids to go to sleep, stay asleep, don't worry, it's not your problem, yada yada. But it's really how they're not acknowledging the effect it's having on their kids. So it's almost like a generational trauma allegory, which again, I can't say for sure if that's what Craven was talking about, but he's a pretty smart guy. So I think it was somewhere in the ether. Um, yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I think for everyone, it's kind of what draws you in, what interests you, and what do you relate to. If you live by an ocean, Jaws is going to be, I mean, everyone loves Jaws. It's like one of the most universally loved movies, but like a movie like a Jaws will draw you in more. But also again, like silly campy stuff, like Sleepaway Camp, Tremors, Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight obviously is a huge one for me. Dust Till Dawn, and even the other stuff like I love the '80s Masters of the Universe movie. I just that movie just makes me happy. I like the Blob remake. Now one of my other things that really annoys me is when people try to remake classic movies.
Yes. Like Black Christmas?
Well, those are so ridiculous on their own. I kind of find them fun.
Yeah.
What my point I make often is that like don't remake a very good movie. Remake a not good movie to be better. Like if you take like an almost perfect movie or a revered movie, you're pretty much setting yourself up for a disappointment because you're not gonna be able to do any better than the movie already is. I understand, like from a marketing point, yeah, to have that the IP attached is going to sell some tickets, but artistically, it'd be very very difficult. You need someone, you need like a John Carpenter remaking The Thing level type of person or magic to do any better. So my soapbox is remake bad movies into better movies. So at least you'll be doing something better. At least you have a higher chance of doing something better, much higher,
I agree.
or at least come with a different take or something. Like don't like yeah, it's a whole thing. I rewatched the Nightmare on Elm Street remake the other day just to see because I haven't seen it in like probably since it came out. Just to see is it really as bad? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much as bad.
What are some other movies that got remade? I'm trying to think.
I mean, they remade most of the big ones at this point. Like the Halloween remake wasn't good.
Yeah.
I'll give I like the Friday 13th remake only because like it condensed like three or four different of the movies in that series. So at least like they're cherry picking the best of and kind of just making it into that. But again, I don't hold those movies in the highest regard. Um, Also that just was a weird that like early 2000s time was just kind of a weird time for movies. Just the aesthetic and just the way we were treating movies back then just wasn't the best at sometimes. So be more interesting to have those kind of remakes now ish. But I don't want those remakes. You know why? Again, why remake a great movie? Again, film at the end of the day is a business. Like people aren't going to make movies that are losing money intentionally. So I understand they're trying to make their money, but you have to find a way to balance the artistic and the commerce side of things.
I agree. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's three great remakes. Again, the Blob remake is very good. The Thing remake is a classic, and then you have the Fly remake. Three very good remakes from the mid '80s. Which again, those are again you're in the '80s, and those movies were like in the '50s, I think. So again, you had like 30 years of since those were any sort of IP. So I feel like that's a good time to do those kind of things. Give it about 30 years and then do something different with it, or take in a different direction at least, and then you might have something.
Can you think of any movies that you would like to see remade?
I'm trying to think of not great movie. Again, going by my thing, I have to think about a not great movie that was made. Yeah, I have to give that one some more thought. I have to, as a
Yeah.
thought exercise, I have to like go through what were my like 2-star movies that like there's a potential for an idea, but the execution just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. Have you watched any Tales from the Crypt?
I know I have. It's just been a really long time and I don't remember. But like I can picture the I don't know what the ghoul guy.
The
What's
Crypt
his name?
Keeper, yeah.
The Crypt Keeper, yeah. I can picture him. But yeah, and then I know I watched Tales from the Hood a few years ago.
That movie holds up really, really well.
Yeah, it is good. I think I'm gonna
Like,
rewatch it again for Halloween.
yeah, like more so. Again, when I came out, I was middle school or early high school or whatever, and like okay, I get it, but like you're more get it for the frights. And now I watch it more like the social commentary about it, and I like that it goes hard on everybody. It doesn't really leave anyone behind. It doesn't really save anyone. It's like we're gonna hit everyone equally
Yeah.
on all sides. Um, yeah, it's a really solid, kind of terrifying in its own way movie. I mean, there's a couple of moments of CGI that are just really ridiculous. That kind of like I'm like, oh, I know that CGI was the cool thing back then. Um, but you're like,
That's probably one of my pet peeves with movies is like too much CGI versus like traditional special effects. I don't know, it takes
yeah,
me out of it.
yeah, but yeah, especially yeah, there was that era where everybody wanted to have cool CGI in their movie or do something really fantastical, and the easy way to do it was with CGI. But the problem was that they didn't really have the tools to not. It's not just make CGI look real, but like to have it look real, to like integrate it with the live action.
Mhm.
So like you have this thing that is fantastical, fine, but then it doesn't look right in conjuncture with everything happening around it. So like so now you see a lot of CGI. They'll like add like a like a color grade or something over like a filter to match the actual film. Where back then it was just like copy and paste. They didn't do anything to really. At least again, they didn't have the tools or the artistry to integrate the effect with the live action. So when you see it, it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah. Versus
But
like, I don't know,
CG,
scanners. Just, the head blown up is just like, I don't know.
mhm,
I don't think CGI can top that.
right? Yeah, scanners. But like I will say that CGI has like a place in like augmenting effects. I think that's the one of the best ways to do it, or like to sell something in the background because I saw this video of like CGI backgrounds that we never really noticed in movies. That like there's it happens so often that we just aren't looking at it, or just it's like again it's so far in the background that like we don't really notice. Like there's a scene in the movie I remember seeing once. I can't remember what the movie was, but like it's supposed to be wintertime and a character is just walking from their car into a house and there's snow on the ground on the house, but they couldn't put like snow on all the other houses or anything. So they CGI'd all the snow and stuff in the background and you can't see it. It's all because it's just, you're just not looking. So it's those
Mhm.
subtle uses of CGI that I think are really helpful and to save money and time. So again, if you can use CGI on the small things and save your money, time, and effort on the big effects to do practically, then power to you.
Yeah. Is there anything you're gonna watch for Halloween this year?
I mean, it's Halloween's for me is year round, so at least as far as watching movies. So I pretty much watched everything. Though we did so I have kids and everything, and they're really excited for Halloween, and my daughter especially. She's not like hardcore, but she's very interested in a lot of things. She loved like the Wednesday Addams TV show. So I watched that with her. So I'm kind of like cultivating that, slowly. I'm not gonna like show her anything extreme, but like we took a TV, we have a small flat screen TV, and we put it outside in our yard, and we like to watch movies, when it gets dark around this time of year and weather finally cools off. So last night we watched Nightmare Before Christmas, which I had never seen the whole movie before. It's
Oh,
fantastic. And she really liked it. And I also didn't realize it was very short. It's like under 80 minutes. So we had times. I'm like, well, how about another one? So we watched Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which again is another childhood favorite of mine. It's just so funny, and just again you're mashing up IPs, but in a very in a way that actually works. And again, you have just have comedy genius, and it's just all kind of you have Bela Lugosi, and you have all those great creature effects all kind of coming together. And she really enjoyed that movie as well.
no.
So it was cool to show her, a movie. Gosh, he was probably 75 years old at this point, so that's probably the oldest movie she's ever seen. So that was really cool. Do you have any Halloween movie plans?
Like I said, I kind of inspired now to watch Tales from the Crypt. Or not Tales from the Crypt. Tales from
Just
the
from the hood,
Hood.
yeah.
Could watch Tales from the Crypt too. Probably gonna watch The Menu now that we've like
Mm.
talked about it again, because like I've seen little like clips of it, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of good. But
Go see the menu, watch Sleepaway Camp, and then go watch Tales from the Hood. You'll be happy.
yeah, I got a whole list now. So thank
There
you.
you go.
That was actually my real reason for bringing you on the show, is to get horror movie recommendations.
Anytime you need more recommendations, I'm sure I can come up with some.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and let you plug all of your show again, and anything else you'd like to share.
Yeah. So again, we're Dads from the Crypt. You can find us on any podcasting platforms. We're really active on Instagram. Again, the handle is Dads from the Crypt. On Threads under the same name. On Twitter, it's Crypt Dads, which got because it got shortened because it was too long when we first made our account, and I just kind of stuck with it. We're also on TikTok just for shits and giggles. Under I think it's Dads from the Crypt Talk. I try to get cute with it. Um, it's actually I like the UI in TikTok. I'll give it that much. I'm sure it's like spyware, yada yada yada, but the UI is actually pretty good, so I have fun with it. And also we also have a YouTube page where we post like videos of our podcast. If you're into that, I don't quite want to look at the people I'm listening to podcasts to. That's the whole point of a podcast. I can do other things and not like watching them. But if that's your thing, go for it. And we also do post some other fun videos. Like whenever I go to a convention, I usually like to do a super cut. And actually, I'm sure this will be up by the time this episode comes out. But I live not too far from a lot of the shooting locations from the original Halloween movie, and I go there every year and take like a picture. And this year, I brought my little phone gimbal, I did a quick video, and I made and so we have a video on our YouTube channel of some filming locations from the original Halloween movies. So go check that out. Again, it's Dads from the Crypt on YouTube. Cool. Oh, and also we have a Patreon. We put up like little would you rather polls that we talk about on our show. Just as a way of engagement. And we also have episode reviews of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes that you can listen to. We have some really fun guests. We do some kind of zany. We do like fuck Mary Kill Simpson style. It gets weird. It gets weird, man. But it's fun. So God bless our patrons. Just and again, we're not making any money off of this. We're just like I just take the money and buy like stickers to hand out to fans. So it's really just kind of
Aw.
funding. It's just funding the little things that we like to do. So yeah, we're not quitting our jobs over any of this. It's just it's just to cultivate an audience, give people some extra access, etc. So check it out our Patreon again, Dads from the Crypt.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate you coming on last minute, and that's a common phrase on this show. So,
Well,
yeah.
thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, no problem.
And I hope
Have a
everyone
good
had a good
Halloween.
Halloween.
That's a wrap for this month's episode of Talking Shit About. We'll be back the first Friday in December. If you would like to come on the show or suggest a topic, you can do so by emailing killizabeth.pod@gmail.com. That's KILLIZABETH.pod@gmail.com. And if you would like to support the show, you can share it or give it a rating. And with that, we'll see you next month.